You can teach someone to do great ideas, but you can't teach someone to be passionate. If they don't love it and if they're not driven and they don't want to just do this day in, day out, then they don't bring any energy to the department, and that's a big part of what Launchpad is that it's like an injection of energy for the whole agency. So I think that is almost my most important criteria now. We run this program called Launchpad, and I think the thing I look for most when I'm finding candidates for that is probably two things. I think I look for a curious mind. I think I don't necessarily care if they've come from a traditional advertising school background, but I look for someone who, in the portfolio of work and ideas that they put forward, just shows a curiosity for the world and for different techniques and different ideas and different industries, and how my ideas could revolutionize this industry or that industry. So I think curiosity will get you through lack of knowledge. So the things you don't understand, if you're curious about, you'll eventually learn. But I also look for passion. I think you can't generate passion, and that's one of the things early on that I realized. We began the Launchpad program maybe 6 years ago in Sydney, and at the very beginning we would hire based on resumes. So we would see the resumes online and the portfolios, and we'd go, that person seems great, and we'd get them in, and then we'd realize that actually some of them are talented but don't have passion, that they've done some good ideas but they don't have any drive or any, just like get up and go. So very quickly after that, I made sure that we actually interview them either in person and meet them, or on Skype if they're from overseas, because it became so almost more important, the kind of person they were versus the kind of work they could do.
So what I look most for in applicants, I look for more people than portfolios. I look for things that make you interesting as a human. I look for things that make you stand out. Everybody asks me what has to be in a portfolio. What are you looking for? I'm looking for to actually see something about yourself. Like, do you have better sense of style than everybody else? Do you use crazy colors? Are you really funny? Are you intelligent? Are you a person that I actually want to know? Is there something about you that makes you unique as a person, that makes me almost like must hire you? It's hard to see that in a person's portfolio. So that's why, like, recently we started a little bit more, leaning heavily towards like interviewing people, getting to know them a little bit, talking about what their hopes and dreams and ambitions are, what they like to do, what they would like to do that maybe is not even in their portfolio. And that's really important. That's something I'm learning from Matt as well, where he's really good at finding those spirits that are really individual and unique and talented, but at the same time, it's still advertising as a team sport, so you have to really work together, and that's kind of like the interesting thing to look for when we are creating like the new group of Launchpad students.
The blessing and the curse of Launchpad now is it's incredibly competitive, because there are only 6 places in New York at any one time. There's a lot of people that want those 6 places, and so I guess that forces all of those individuals to make sure that they stand out. So a lot of people kind of just think it's a matter of, oh well, I'll just forward my portfolio and we'll see what happens. But I think for us, the ones that really demonstrate they want this experience more than the others are the ones that often get it, because as I said earlier, I think passion is key, and if you can show us that you are passionate about following this goal and this dream, then I think you're more likely to get the opportunity to do Launchpad, and you'll get more out of it as well. So I think it is competitive even just to get to that stage, which hopefully over time we can open it up more and more and more and have more opportunities. But I think it's now about standing out in amongst that group of people who are then trying to stand out. So it's a challenge.
How has Launchpad evolved over the period that I've been here? I think we had like 5 groups until now, and it has slightly evolved. At first, we tried to make more like 3 groups of conceptual teams to kind of have them work with each other, but at the same time compete on an idea level, try to outdo each other idea wise. I think we're slightly morphing into craft-based people, having them in the group. So different sets of skills together. So advertising conceptual people, illustration, motion graphics, and it's just really nice to see them come together and bring their different skill sets to the table. It as well inspires us within the DDB to get those different skill sets in there. When they come in, we try to get them involved as much as possible with real projects, real briefs, real problems. Also because we like to have like an interesting perspective on those things, because like we have our regular teams that work on a day-to-day basis, and it's kind of like nice to get like a fresh angle on things. But also I think it's an important experience. The internship is a big part of somebody's career. I think it will define in what directions they want to go. We're just there to bring out the talent, make sure that these people, these interns, have a great time, and that they develop their creative skills. So we try to get them really, really involved. Also, out of pure necessity, we're super busy here. Every team is working really, really hard. So we even have to utilize our interns.
Well, now that we're into like the 6th or 7th year of LaunchPad, we've probably seen, I don't know, like well into the sort of early 100 graduates go through, and the thing that is common to all of them is, the passion and enthusiasm that they bring to the industry and to the agency. It is designed for graduates who are sort of trying to bridge that gap between, education and first experience, and that's certainly why it's called LaunchPad. So what I've found is, as a result of that it's almost like it's like a stamp of endorsement if someone has gone through the LaunchPad program. Certainly in Australia, where it's been running like 5 or 6 years, if someone's gone through the LaunchPad program, agencies look at them in a different way and go, oh, okay, they've got great work, but they've also been LaunchPad endorsed, so that means that they're a really good candidate for us. And then people started ringing me going, oh, Matt, have you got any recent LaunchPad graduates who are the good ones? And so it almost became a starting point for people to look for young creatives. I always make sure that they get the best briefs in the agency, so they'll work alongside the senior creatives and the group creative directors, and they'll crack this amazing idea to the same brief that someone else is working on. And I think it's so enlightening for people who've been doing this for a while to realize that these young kids that can come in and just crack an idea with no fear, nothing to worry them. So I love that experience every time, and it never changes. That they are just completely they're just high on ideas, and that's what they do. So I think and I think they take that experience with them as they go into the industry. And the nice thing as well is there are some great people in this industry now who have graduated from LaunchPad. That they're in great agencies. There are LaunchPad graduates at Crispin Porter, at Ogilvy, at RGA, at DDB offices around the world, and we've kind of helped them get that start, and they're doing great things. And even though they're doing it for other agencies, it still feels incredibly proud for me to have helped them achieve that. And I feel like a sort of a proud old dad. I look out and I see them doing it, and I'm like, well done, and I'm so glad I could be part of helping you on that journey. And if they come back to DDB at some point in their career, then great. But if they don't, then they've got a successful career that they've carved out, and that's a really great feeling, I think, for LaunchPad, for DDB, and for me.